Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Man Muhammad Arham bin Man Muhammad Nizam. Inshallah, today my group members and I will review an article, Social Relationship to the Disabled in Malaysia. First, let's take a look at introduction. This study specifically discusses about literature review of society's concern for persons with disabilities. In Malay, we called orang kelainan upaya, OKU. So it is divided into several sections, namely research methodology, research findings, and discussion. Then it will finish or it will end with a conclusion. Now, I would like to explain about background of person with disabilities. Definition. Person with disabilities can be defined as a person who has a long-term physical, mental, intellectual, or sensory deficiency that, when interacting with various barriers, can restrict full participation and their effectiveness in the community. As we know, persons with disabilities have their rights to live life like a normal person. But how? We as a normal person have to help them so that they can fulfill their life peacefully. So I would like to explain 7 categories of person with disabilities. First of all, now I would like to explain about background of the person with disabilities. Definition. Person with disabilities can be defined as a person who has a long-term physical, mental, intellectual, or sensory deficiency that, when interacting with various barriers, can restrict full participation and their effectiveness in the community. As we all know, persons with disabilities have their rights to live in their life peacefully and happily. But how? We as a normal person need to help them so that they can fulfill their goal in their life. So I'm going to explain categories of disabilities according to Ministry of Women, Family and Community Development. There are 7 categories. First, hearing impairment. This category is related to ear, which means they have ear problems that affected their hearing. So they need to wearing something to help them to hear clearly. Second, visually impaired. This is related to eyes, such as blind, or maybe they can open their eyes, but they cannot see, even though they can wear sunglasses. Third, physically disabled is a person who has a Lyme disability or loss of function, or does not have a Lyme any part of the body. Fourth, a learning problem. A learning problem is someone who has brain intelligence problems that are not in line with their biological age. Fifth, speech disabilities. Speech disabilities are individual who has a speech problem but can hear clearly. Sixth, mentally disabled is a person who faces a severe mental illness who has undergone treatment or has been diagnosed for at least 2 years by a psychiatrist. Seventh, multiple disabilities. The meaning is individuals who experience more than one type of disability. Next, research methodology. This study used quantitative approach by distributing questionnaires to 328 students. How? The researcher prepare question for those students and students must answer it. Next, use the current survey method or cross-sectional survey. This method is collected once from one sample at a time. So the data acquisition can be done in a more accurate way. Lastly, the study also formed a case. What does that mean? The meaning is the case which is part of descriptive research that is in depth of a phenomena being studied. The design of this study also referred to as a multiple case because it involves multiple study sites, which is it is involved with certain places.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Izzat bin Suhaimi Effendi. So next we go to the part research finding. The purpose of the studies is to focus on the service received by people with disabilities, which is OKU, especially in Malaysia. The research finding of these studies provide several forms of treatment for people with disabilities, such as society perception of people with disabilities, form of community concern, and right to worship. Society perception of people with disabilities. Some people have a negative view of people with disabilities, which is OKU, making it difficult for them to participate in society. Society need to be aware and accept them by giving them the help and attention they deserve. Knowledge of the disabled is important to reduce negative stereotype of disabled. The more information the community get about the disabled, the more positive their attitude toward the disabled will be. A positive attitude toward the disabled lead the community to accept the disabled in a good way. When given the proper attention, the disabled can be succeed. Like Albert Einstein, a scientist who initially had a speech problem and slow to understand language. Like the others, Thomas Alva Edison and Stephen Hawking. They have successfully proved that leg is not an obstacle to success in life. This success is the result of their hard work from the support of those closest to them as well as the community's acceptance and attention to this special group. After that is form of community concern, which is help received by the disabilities that they get benefit from the establishment of the Ministry of Women, Family and Community Development through the Department of Social Welfare. After that is right to obtain basic necessities, which is involve the preservation of 5 things: religion, soul, intellect, honor, and property. And the last one is the right to be respected by hadith Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam narrated by Abu Dawud, hadith number 4084 and Tirmidhi number 2022, meaning is don't underestimate goodness even by talking to your brother with a smile on face. That practice is part of virtue.
The right of worship. Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala has made the performance of worship obligatory for every Muslim who is mukallaf. A person who has reached the qualifications for taklif sometimes loses all qualifications or partially when there are obstacles that may affect his qualifications. These obstacles are known as the qualification barrier. which is al-awarid al-ahliyah, is divided into two parts. First is natural obstacles, al-awarid al-samawiyah, and second is obstacles to come, which is al-awarid al-muktasabah. Natural obstacles, which is al-awarid al-samawiyah, means obstacles that occur naturally and they occur beyond human ability. Among them are madness from birth or because of heredity, mental retardation from birth, forgetfulness, sleep, and fainting, also illness and death. The upcoming obstacles, which is al-awarid al-muktasabah, refers to a new mistake that happened to human and not naturally. This type of obstacle can be divided into two categories. First is obstacles that occur because of themselves, such as ignorance, stupidity, and drunkenness. Second is obstacle that occurs because of other people, which is coercion, such as blackmail. So, among the resolutions reached in the NEET Seminar Deaf Muslim Citizens organized by MFD, first, Muslim deaf people must understand religion, improve faith, and learn the law. Second, Muslim deaf people must pray. Therefore, they must be tough. Third, the prayer of the deaf is according to need. Deaf people cannot lead non-deaf people in prayer, but can be imam for prayer among them. So, we go to the argument. First, according in Hajar al-Asqalani, the Prophet Muhammad SAW said, which is meaning, you should make it easy and not make difficult. Hadis riwayat Muslim, number 1506. This concept is based on the Quranic in Surah Al-Ma'idah, verse 6, which means, Allah does not want to make your bear any hardship. The word of Allah SWT said again, it means Allah want ease for you and not wishing your trouble in Surah Al-Baqarah ayah 185. So, from the description of the verse above, it shows that basically religion is easy for everyone who worship Him, which is Allah. This facility is also to facilitate worship that can be performed by people with disabilities such as deaf, blind, and physical challenge. So the conclusion, although the Quran does not emphasize much on physical disabilities, because God looks more at those who have better practice. However, knowledge of the disabled is important to reduce the society's negative stereotypes about the disabled. A positive attitude towards the disabled leads society to accept the disabled OKU in a good way. The community's involvement with the disabled is an activity can strengthen relationships and give rise to concern for this group. So that's all from ours. Thank you for lending your ears. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.